This is where the fun begins.
Are you sure? So be it.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure if this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Did you miss me?
Caf. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Wow, my voice. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Caf Chat. How are you doing? I am your host, or your hostess, or whatever that is. Hostess with the mostess, Alora. And it is our Thursday morning Caf Chat, discussing all George Lucas era of Star Wars, BS, Disney Star Wars news, Lucas facts, book of the week, and Cringe Factor. Yes. So how are you guys doing? Good morning from Kelly. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat. All right. So Maud here, Purist, how are you doing? Force choke the like button, share the stream on social media, and consider becoming a member. Correct. Why? We just finished the second part of the Dark Forces novella trilogy, Rebel Agent, with some channel members. And I really want you guys to become a channel member so we can sit down and have these wonderful listen moments, watch parties and stuff, nerding out on George Lucas era of Star Wars. Now we're moving on to Jedi Knight. I was going to go ahead and give the date here today, but I didn't even look at the calendar to see what day it is or even what you guys members voted on for the time we should meet. If I need to keep it at 7:30 or push it back or whatever, or make it a little later so that it's convenient for everybody to show up who's a channel member. So get your membership done, become a member. And I would love to see you at the next listen party, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight. And if you're very new to Dark Forces in general, like you never played the game or even read the story, you can go back. I can send the link once you're a channel member. I can send the links to those two previous listen parties, and you can sit in and listen or whatever. Or I could just send you the links to the audibles, and you can catch up that way. Yeah, because I want you to immerse yourself in George Lucas era of Star Wars, especially now that we're having Andor premiering at the end of this month, I believe. I don't remember the date, but I know it's towards the end of the month. And we want the real intentions of the real lore, and that includes Dark Forces. There's many events that happened during the time on how the different schematics of the plans were captured by different, captured, I guess you could say, by different Rebel Alliance forces. And we know within the lore that, the Rebel Alliance as a whole didn't form until the Corellian Treaty was formed. So there were so many factions of rebellions against the Empire that it was important for Mon Mothma, Bel Organa, and the likes of them to unite, to unify, and that's Garmel Bel Iblis too as well, to unite, to unify all them together as one common cause, the Rebel Alliance. And so getting into this lore as Andor comes closer puts the true Star Wars in front of everybody, right? And so not only will I be sharing this month a lot of new Jedi Order information, lore, I'm going to share a lot of New Republic lore, the real, authentic George Lucas era New Republic lore. And I want everybody here to do the same. Find a certain subject you like to talk about within the Rebel Alliance, pre Yavin, or even around Yavin time, the battle. Share it out there. Get that lore. Yes, it's going to trigger the shills, and that's okay. Who gives a fuck? If it triggers them, that means it's working. It is working. All right, so let's go ahead and see who's in the chat. I already went on my soapbox there, but yeah, I will be continuing to do that because this is what this channel is about. True, authentic lore of Star Wars, the history. Let's see here. Star Wars Marvel Purist says, I see through the lies of the fence riders. I do not fear the dark side like you. Good one. And Conrado, it's midnight in the Philippines. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in so late. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very, very much. And hello, Swift -1. How are you doing? I'm so happy you're here with us. Tales of the Underworld Season 3. Tales of Clickbait. That's exactly it. And I was going to get into this. Holy shit. So the news is that, and for the reason why all of a sudden the Underworld talk was revamped, is because it was a setup for this show to be announced. Everything that was shared by McCullen and those who talked about it, like who were involved, was already known back in the day. Back 2010, 2012, all of that. Back in the day, everything that was said, people think, oh, it's brand new news. Oh my God, it's news that we haven't heard. Fucking bullshit. I'm calling it now, and I called it before. Everything that was shared was also shared in the past. If you can even fucking find it on Wikipedia, okay? So it's not new news. Maybe to some people who never heard it before, but it's not new news anyways. Sorry to break it to you, like to theory, Star Wars theory. It's not fucking new news. You just don't know. You didn't know anything about it because you don't fucking do your research. You don't really keep in tune and track with behind the scenes and what's going on because you're a theorist, right? You know, it's all what you want to see in your head. And that's how it goes. So not new news, but it was staged for this announcement. Now everybody thinks that it's going to be the Underworld, that they're going to use their scripts. Oh, fucking shit. Yeah, I'm cussing today. It's just how it is. I'm amped up on my caffeine. I got my caf right in front of me. What are you drinking? I usually begin the show with that. What's in your mug? What's in your mug? Mine is shitload of caffeine. I'm ready to go. All right. It's coffee. But my point I'm making here is, you know, cartoon cannot. Not the cartoon, not this kid show that they're going to be doing will not equal George's vision. Because it probably was going to, it's by the looks of it, by the sounds of it, I guess you could say, probably was going to be as dark as New Jedi Order. New Jedi Order is a fucking dark story. It is. It is. And that's what kind of turned some people off towards it because they wanted this happy ending kind of rhetoric that was happening before then, right? They didn't want so many deaths. They wanted the heroes to come out happy, clean, blah, 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 blah. No. Yeah, they wanted stories that still, you know, had, events that were trying, fearful, all of that. But the New Jedi Order went beyond that, and I think this is where the underworld was going to go with George Lucas. But it was too much. Like the scripts doesn't mean that exactly that's what they were going to do, because scripts change all the fucking time. So the script idea is what, 40? And how many did it go up to? 100 scripts at one time? So 40 to 50. But people are saying 60 to 100. You know, everything was fucking exaggerated, you know, whatever. But the cartoon is not going to be as dark, as gritty, as a true criminal show should be. And I think that it's not even going to be as dark as even like Tales of the Bounty Hunter and stuff. Honestly, I don't think so. And they're just rehashing characters again, like Asajj Ventress. And go check out Star Wars Marvel Pierce channel for his review of the character. And in her timeline order, her historical account of the character, he did special care to make sure that he got all the events lined up as seamlessly as possible. And it's a good, those videos are really good to watch, so go check them out. But the Disney version, there's no comparison. And they're always retconning their shit, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be retconning even more. So anyways, that's my take on that. And we have Jim the Despot. How are you doing? Finally got here after all the damn ads. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I'm glad you finally got to settle in and now join us. And Scran is here. He had a little short cannon bomb video that aired today, so go check it out. Just very concise with what George says about the EU. Very cool. All right. Tales of the like button. Yeah, go press that like button. Today is April 3rd. It's also my dad's birthday. He turns 4. Well, happy birthday. Cheers to your dad and his birthday. Yep, he is an Aries. He's a fireman. Not a fireman in career, but you know what I mean. Gibbet21 is here. How are you doing? All right. Before I read this, I didn't even say what we're going to get in today, right? I usually do. I just came in a blazing. You know me sometimes. So, of course, all right, I did kind of say we have the Lucas facts. We have, we're paying homage to a wonderful book that has captured many fans' hearts. And that's all I'm going to say. We are going to get in for the New Jedi Order lore. We are now in the timeline of Edge of Victory, and I have to pick up that book. I haven't picked it up in a while here to read, so I'm still on the first of the duology. So we are getting into the progress of the invasion during that time, quote unquote, the New Jedi Purge and the state of the New Republic. So we're getting into this timeline here, and there's a lot of fucking things going on during these two books. A lot going on that we're going to be covering. I'm going to break it down a little bit more, like the fall of Yavin, the kidnapping of Tahiri, so, and what happens to her. A lot of shit's going to happen in there. You know, the birth of Ben is another thing that's going to be talked about, like some here, but probably a couple of Caf Chats. It's going to be included, but there's a lot going on in the Edge of Victory. And the story just keeps getting heavier with more events, more things happening. And sad to say, there's a character that maybe some of you guys thought was very interesting that's going to die. I know Soul Assassin was kind of mourning that when he found out about it. Sorry, Soul Assassin. All right, so let me see. OG, I don't think Disney is going to sell Star Wars ever, at least anytime soon. If anything, they will sell Pixar or another franchise before they sell Star Wars. What is your opinion? They're not going to. It's a moneymaker still. As long as people keep relying on the hopium and copium, it's never going to be sold. No matter if they're quote unquote on our side, these hope grifters that are coping are going to contribute to keeping it successful. That's it. So they're not really on our side. They're not really, their intentions are not really the integrity of George Lucas, really. But hey, you know, it is what it is. All right, Bateau is here. Hey guys, sorry I missed y'all, but I finally got my computer back online. What's up today? Well, geez. You know, I don't know if you guys believe in astrology or not, but we are in Mercury retrograde, and that kind of slows things down. Electronics decide to just kind of have their hiccups and stuff. And if you were listening with us on the watch party, there was some hiccups going on there too. Like StreamYards was kicking my ass out for a while, man. It was fucking crazy. It was crazy. Soul Assassin is here. Howdy. I like your picture. Y'all please hit the like button. Hell yeah. New news. Let me see here. Swift -1. Did you change your avatar? I thought it was a different one before then. You sure did. Look at that. Justice for Ygritte. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Ygritte right now, but yes, the victims of the Peace Brigade. But anyways, yeah, I hear you. I feel you. NJO, one of the darkest for sure. Glad they took this turn. Yes, it revamped Star Wars. It got so placid with the happy ending type stories that it was just wash, rinse, and repeat with, you know, different adventures and stuff. And it still was really good. They still tied in really great, but there was nothing. There was no big, huge stakes. And, you know, there was nothing. No one was really dying. The heroes were in danger, right? But their lives were not necessarily threatened in a sense. But right here, like the beginning of New Jedi Order, not even like thinking like these heroes and their family members are going to die, you know, boom. Rest in peace, Chewie. That was the hardest fucking thing ever, right? And then, you know, like you're thinking, oh God, Han's going on the spin. What's going to happen to him? Is he going to be the next one to die? I mean, you have all these thoughts in your heads as you start reading more and more into the series. And even George Lucas, like any one of them could be killed except for Luke. He even, like at one point, he even was like Han or Leia, but not Luke. So that was interesting. That was an interesting thing. So the fear and the engagement of like, are my heroes going to die? Who's going to die next? What's going to happen? And, you know, there was some characters that weren't very popular that died, but they still had a great role in the story and were introduced in other stories too, like by Zahn and all them. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. Check out OG's merch. Yes, check out the merch. Go get yourself a mug from my merch. And then when you sit and have coffee with me for Caf Chat, then you're going to represent, and that's going to support the channel even more. Or you can get prints of Asajj Ventress, the true Asajj Ventress, or even Quinlan Voss. I will have Boba Fett as an offering on there pretty soon. It's just about ready to go. I just have to go and get him professionally scanned and put on disc so that I can download the image. Yeah. So there we go. Or I might just try to take a good picture, but that never really happens really well with paintings, especially if they're glossy. All right. So Pierre says, if you want to see me pretend to be a shill last night, you know what? Let's play that shit. Wait, let me see here. Is it that one that you shared with us in private chat? Because I will play that shit. That was funny. That's funnier than hell. If the EU was never canon, why George Lucas put EU references in the prequels and the special editions of the original trilogy? I know, right? But you know, anti-EU people, the deniers, won't. They just that irks them and they deny it. It says Underworld 1000 out of 10. Woo! Let me see. I'm going to bring this up. You know, like, you know me, I like to chat with you guys for a little bit and then we get into our news. Let me see here. Where is it? Where is it? I know you shared the clip. Let me see here. Let me open it up. All right. Okay, stop it. Okay. I don't know if this is the right one, but I thought it was pretty cool. So we're going to share it. Let's see here. Present. Share screen. All right. There it is. Let's do this. Okay. I'll put this down here. That's better. That is better. All right. I don't know why I'm sing-songy today. I have no idea. All right.
Whoa, man. Oh, my God. Underworld. Oh, my God. It says Underworld, guys. That's the show George Lucas was going to do. It's Underworld. Guys, this is like George Lucas, bro. Oh, my God. Star Wars is saved again, man. 1,000 out of 10. 1,000 out of 10. I'm calling it right now, dude. 1,000 out of 10.
I really liked Baby Dumbo.
Yes.
Yes, Baby Dumba. There it is, guys. Tune in. May the 4th. May the fake Star Wars be with you. Get those subscriptions, guys. I mean, just say that you're watching Mako Mermaids, dude, and get those Disney Plus subscriptions, guys. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoa, man. Oh, my God. Underworld.
There we go. All right, there we go. So there, I missed the show yesterday or last night. I was on Mr. Grizzly's listening to his shill stuff, and then I tuned out and took a bath and just sat down and started working on more of my art and stuff, and put on some kick-ass music and just got engulfed in my art. So I'll have to go back and catch the replay. But that's funnier than hell. Thank you so much, Purist. That was fucking amazing. And the thing is, oh my God. Everybody's gonna grift on this damn show. Star Wars is saved again, you guys, again. It is saved. So let's see what you guys have to say here. Oh my God. Some of these replies, like I forgot what I said when I said it, and just watching or seeing everything go down. Okay. Okay, new rule. Limit Purist of 2 cups of caf. That was cool. I know, right? But what about OG? OG, what's your favorite young reader Star Wars books from the EU? I like the Young Jedi Knights. Imagine a world where Superman lives and Underworld gets made in an alternate universe. I don't know, but that's crazy. And the thing is that you have people that are like, we want Disney to not succeed. And I'm going to make my fan videos, and it's going to be the liking of George Lucas. It's going to bring back Star Wars. But how are you going to bring back Star Wars when the Star Wars is still under Disney? So bringing back Star Wars means that you're bringing it back you're bringing it back to life, and it's still under Disney, and you're still going to support it. So that doesn't make sense whatsoever. It does not make sense whatsoever. It seems Theory didn't learn from Pierce, but the shill rubbed off on Pierce instead. Oh my God, you should have friggin' went and took a hot shower, a cold shower. You should have smudged it off or whatever and got that shit off of you. Purist. All right, so let's get into what we need to get into here. And I miss the spacing, I do. So let's get into our Lucas facts.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right, hopefully you can hear me. Testing. I thought I set this up so you can hear me. I'm still trying to use these scenes because they're easy to segue between scenes now if you know how to set them up. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. I don't see you guys saying that you can't. So here we go. Lucas facts. This is from James Lucino. And George was involved in the early stages, and this is regarding Darth Plagueis, the novel. When the book was first proposed, I wrote to him and asked whether there was any reason why Plagueis couldn't be a non-human, and he wrote back that that Plagueis could be a Mun and sent me some artist renderings of the character. From that point on, everything was approved. As they're saying, as they're saying, at the highest level, quote unquote. So at the highest level, the book began, and that was under George Lucas, through him sending questions with Stover regarding, well, no, not this one. Sorry, that's not this one, but still, he still sent in questions. He still got a hold of George Lucas. George Lucas is like, okay, these characters need to be this type of species, because Plagueis is his character, even though we never seen it on screen. That is his character, and so it needs to be exactly whom he thinks it should be as the species and its development, what have you. And the book here, and I shared this information on Twitter, the book was proposed quite early in the year, or early. I think it was like after 2002. But then it got canceled. And then it got revamped. So there's a long history with this book and in development. And so it's very interesting to look and research about Darth Plagueis and when it came out. So the book was in limbo for a little while, and then it got revamped and published. So very interesting information here. And the interview was of James Luceno on theforce.net. And you can look that up if you want to. And this is going to be on my Twitter channel as well, and you can share it out. You can save it for your documentaries or whatever you want to use this for, especially when you read Darth Plagueis and share the novel on your YouTube channel. This is a bit of information here that I don't mind you guys using. That's what this is for. Let me see what you guys have to say here. To say Star Wars will be back to George Lucas era levels is to discredit everything George has done, and to think that you are likening yourself to George Lucas as in quality. Isn't that fucking something, right? That sounds just very Dave Filoni-ish, right? That's something Dave Filoni would say. For reals, it is. All right. Let's see here. James the Goat Luceno, correct. And Plagueis would be a banker, right? And Plagueis the Zionist, ha ha ha. George had a lot of involvement with Plagueis through Howard Rothman. Yes, the book was delayed to put more focus on Palpatine, but still no mentions of Sheev. Correct. There was a lot of stories that were going on during that time, and it was in the interest of Lucasfilm to just halt the book for a little while. And they didn't want too much to be revealed on Plagueis's and Palpatine's backstory just yet. And then finally, when they're ready, they're like, let's do this. Let's publish it. It was all ready to go, what have you. And of course, they won't publish anything if they didn't like the quality of the story or what the story had to tell about these characters, especially George Lucas movie characters. And so they had to make sure that to give more room for, Palpatine's story going forward before they revealed a lot of backstory. And yes, there's no mention Sheev, and I've been in this debate so many times. That was never something that was considered. In fact, in the book, it hinted that Palpatine was a junior. If you didn't recall it, I think it was when it's like right before he spaced his family. I think it's that scene. Right before Palpatine spaced his family. Technically, that's what he did. He spaced his own fucking family. His dad. I think it's that scene. If not, then it's another scene with him and his dad having a back and forth. But he's like, to think, basically, like I said, it's hinted to think that, you are a Palpatine, that you are my son, you are like me, you are a junior. He doesn't say junior, but that's what's implied. But that was very interesting. Let's see here. It's filled with many unnatural things. Right. Oh, I hate when it jumps like that when I try to click on someone's thing and it doesn't show up. Palpatine's first name gave me the Sheevers. The Sheevers. Only known as Palpatine, right? The book specifically states he goes by a Palpatine alone, correct? what's Palpatine's true first name in Legends? And he doesn't have one, but it's hinted that he was a junior. And because he didn't want to be nothing like his father, his name is only Palpatine. So there you go. There you go. Soul Assassin says there was plans to have Plagueis in the Force Unleashed games as a guest for a Star Killer, but it got canceled by Lucas. Would have been a totally different version of what of the one we got. Yeah, because it didn't make sense to put him in there, right? Did not make sense. So here we go. You know, just talking about what the development of Plagueis and Palpatine in their true form, not no friggin' acolyte where Plagueis is lurking in the background like some kind of ghoul gonna go strike and suck someone's blood or something like that. That was such a downgrade of such a brilliant fucking character. And here all these Disney shills, acolyte shills were like pissed off that myself and many others spoke out about it. Because it hit some nerve. They knew we were right. We are right about everything. Padawan Plagueis. Yeah, so they know. And you can tell when you hit a fucking nerve with them because they get so fucking defensive. I can post something about the EU and it just be something fun, right? And it'll hit a fucking nerve so hard that there'll be a fucking meltdown of a Disney shill, an anti-EU shill. And then their friends will come and defend them and come raise hell. It's so fucking funny how that happens. Really, it is. It's like I can say I like the EU when they go on there and start talking shit. Or I can just share a fun fact about Wedge Antilles from the EU when they get so fucking bent out of shape. It's hilarious. All right, what you don't want to see Plagueis? No, shill, not Plagueis, the PDF. Oh God, not the PDF verbiage. And he's a creeper in that, and I'm watching these guys like look like they're gonna get ready to make out and stuff. And oh my God, what a creeper! Oh my God. Damajanai, long time no see. I missed the Dark Council. I'm gonna have to watch it later on because I know you guys discussed about John Boyega, and we're gonna discuss that here. $2 super chat from Damajanai. What's up, pimp? I miss you guys. I need to go and catch some Dark Council again and reconnect with you all. All right. I got called an OG simp by a shill. Didn't anger me, just made me laugh. Like, seriously, that's all you got to insult me with? And like, that's a fucking insult in itself. That's hilarious. Oh, you're an OG simp. Well, you know, who cares? All right. So speaking of great content and stuff, let's get into our next thing, book of the week. But first, let me get to the right things here. Let's go ahead and pull this.
Caf. Lots of it. For me and for the ready room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
All right, here we go. Again, hopefully you can hear me. I think I have myself set on this stage 2, or the scene clip 2. It is Revenge of the Sith novelization. Yesterday was its anniversary. It first came out in hardcover on April 2nd, 2005. So 2005. course, Matthew Stover is the author, and he also sat down with George Lucas. We'll get into more of that with Lucas Facts, or not Lucas Facts, with continuity notes. And paperback came out October 2005, and the placement basically is 19 BBY. Let me see here. Let's see here. What Soul Assassin saying right here? You know, Jocasta, if you didn't have such a snarky attitude, your apprentice Jarek wouldn't be such a prick. I love when you connect the dots with that when we are going over Dark Forces for the member watch or listen party. Oh my God. And let's see here. Derek Lopez, how are you doing? I've read the novelization of Revenge of the Sith. It is so good. I agree. Yes, there's a replay. You guys check it out. I'm going to go catch that as well later. I'll try to catch the replay too. Yes. Let's see here. Are they using AI in the Essential Legends covers? More than likely. Is it your first time listening to Dark Forces at Soul Assassin? I think it is for him. I really do. I think it is. All right. So with this here, so Revenge of the Sith, this is not only one of the most great, phenomenal movie novel, it's one of the most great, phenomenal EU novels. So we have a 2-in-1 here, and this was crafted by none other than Matthew and George Lucas themselves. And so Patricia Reed wrote the juvenile novel. It's based on both the episode 3 screenplay by George Lucas and the expanded universe. Deleted scenes are in the novel, solidifying events of the time that could not make it in the movie. So there's movie scenes that George was like, I don't have time to place this here. And Matthew put him in the novel. So they're still legit. There's still legit events that happened during the time, even if we don't see them on the screen. So other scenes that are seen as quote unquote off-screen events occur, like Yoda going to Kashyyyk to help the Wookiees. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? So we know about that we know that happens behind the scenes stuff with that. We do see him on Kashyyyk, in the movie, but we don't see exactly everything that happens there. And then Stover had sat down with Lucino, Stover has sat down with Lucas to work on the Revenge of the Sith novel. And I forgot the K there. It must have, that sucks. But anyways, I'll correct that and repost it. Yeah, so there you go. So what are your moments? What really is exciting for you when it comes to Revenge of the Sith? What are those special moments for you? So we'll talk about this for a couple minutes, and then we'll move on to our lore talk. So we're not cutting into too much time here. Revenge of the Sith novelization, as well as all novelations, are G-canon. G-canon, yep. Just subbed to John. To John. Can't even talk. Dimaginai. The dragon. Oh, yes. That right there. That. And it carries on a little tiny bit into Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader. So it's crazy. That's a good one right there. The calling of the dragon, who the dragon really is. I'm not going to give too much spoilers if you have not read it. Labyrinth of Evil made me love Revenge of the Sith with I never thought I could be possible. Yeah, I get it. All right, Star Wars Luke UK. Sup, everyone just got home. What have I missed? We're just going through Lucas Facts, having fun talking about Star Wars, and now we're talking about the book of the week. Yep. LOE, Labyrinth of Evil, also made me fall in love with the EU. That's amazing. Like, there's some books I wouldn't think that it would, but then when someone says this is where my induction was to the EU, my introduction, and I wanted to keep reading more and more. It just solidifies that book even more for me. Dragon, we're talking about Siko Unleash the Dragon. Let's see here. Matthew is here. Yeah, but parts of the Return of the Jedi are not canon, like Padme surviving until she dies on Alderaan, or Ben being Uncle Owen's brother. Yeah, there are some things that were retcon, but with this right here, the Revenge of the Sith, it is these behind the scenes, these not behind the scenes, these deleted scenes that didn't make it in the movie made it in the novelization. Let's see here. Labyrinth of Evil, 9 out of 10. All right. With that being said, you guys, this right here is the book of the week in memory and in homage to its first publication, April 2nd, 2005. It came out before the movie. And how many of you guys bought the book before you went to see the movies? Or how many of you guys held out and waited to see the movie, then bought the book? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Battle Meditation G canon. And we did see in the New Jedi Order, the twins and their little brothers. This was staged by their little brother using battle meditation, battle meld, I guess you could say. And then you also seen that battle meditation used beforehand in the EU under Timothy Zahn. So I gotta see, battle meditation, did it originate in the EU and then used by George? I never looked into that. So if someone wants to do that homework for me, please do so and share in the chat. Let's see here. My older brother had the book before the movie. It was hardcover. Yep, the very first one, because the paperback came out after the movie. So everything that came out, like with Revenge of the Sith, was hardcover before the movie. I bought the game, but didn't get the book till a few years later. Okay. And Jim says, I remember my brother borrowed this book from the same library we could borrow the Republic comics. Oh, back in the days when you could check out comics and stuff too. Oh, hell yeah. Those were the days. Gilderon, Odin Nomi Sunrider, Naga Sadao, all did battle meditation. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Return of the Jedi novelization, Palpatine uses battle meditation during the Battle of Endor, if I can remember. And you know what? I haven't read it in a long time, so maybe you're right. I have to go check it out. But if someone wants to research that and see if it came out before in the EU, if not, then if it's originated first with George Lucas, that's cool. I have, like I said, I haven't read the book in a long time, so I don't recall that. So thank you for bringing this up. I would love to know exactly where it happened. Battle meditation was EU and Tales of the Jedi, I believe. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, why does Sin Darlig have white hair in the Revenge of the Sith game? I don't know. I saw the movie on release day, May 19th. 2005. I'll be seeing it again in theaters for the 20th anniversary. You do what you want to do with your money, but I am suggesting don't give Disney the money for George's classic movies. By going, you're supporting Disney. Sad to say, if you can, if it's feasible, find another way to get in. Or just put your disc on your TV and have a barbecue watch party at home. Yeah, there was ARC copy, advanced review copy, a signed limited edition, then the standard hardcover for Revenge of the Sith, then later on paperback. I don't consider Disney Legends printings correct. They never printed Revenge of the Sith movie novel under Legends label. They never, from this day forward, but we'll see what happens now because they are having the deluxe release, which is scary to hear because they're going to have a new cover. And then what's going to make it deluxe? Are they going to change content in there? What's going to happen with that novel? Why is it called deluxe? So I am very suspicious about what Disney Lucasfilm has in mind for things. Like for their Essential Legends novels, they take out acknowledgments and stuff like that from the authors who acknowledge George Lucas and like Sue Ristoni and them, all those stuff, those key information from the authors are taken out. So what's going to happen with this novel? OG, y'all did a Phantom Menace watch along a few years ago. Why not do it on episode 3 watch along? Might be fun. We'll see. We will see. You know, May is just right around the corner, right? Maybe for Star Wars, True Star Wars Day, May 25th. Oh my God. So Purists basically pissed off some Disney shills. And we're like, no, May the 4th is Star Wars Day, blah, blah, blah. You know, going on and on about that. And I'm like, dude, no. The real Star Wars Day is May 25th. And they just went off the hooks with that, calling me a liar and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, you guys are fucking stupid. But anyways, let's get into our lore talk here. I need a segue video for that. Lore talk. I need to put something together for that. And once I get my Art of Star Wars series going, I will have little segments for Caf Chat on that. So that'll refer to the video that's published and a little bit of talk about that with you guys here in the chat. So I have to connect all the content that comes out on the channel together through my live somehow in Caf Chat right now. And sometimes it is Cantina Nights or Caf Chat briefing. So I would love to connect all of that, you know, and so that it's, you know, kind of a seamless kind of channel where we talk a little bit about what was published before for like Art of Star Wars, and we could talk a little bit more about the artist that's featured in one of the shows, one of the videos, and pay homage to, you know, the development of Star Wars through the arts, you know, through the visuals, because visuals isn't all about movies, but movies are created on visuals, right? So we're created on all the wonderful artists that were brought in, not only for the movies, but for the novels, for the comics. It's such Star Wars, Lucasfilm Star Wars under George was so rich in the creative department, bringing in top tier artists, top tier novelists. George wanted the only one to be in charge of this, all of this. He didn't want studio involvements whatsoever. And it shows. It became one of the best phenomenal type franchises that expanded on the history. It was a single timeline of events. And of course, you know, they had to keep track of continuity. And of course, there's always hiccups when things have been expanded for 40 years or 35 years plus. But in the end, it was magnificent. He won. George Lucas won world records for the amount of novels tied to the movies. And I have to find that clip again, the world record one, but that shows and pays homage to the EU being tied to the movies, no matter how far in the future or the past they go in the historical timeline, right? So with that being said, we are going to about 26 ABY with Edge of Victory of the New Jedi Order. So let me go ahead and pull my little pull up my PowerPoint for this, because I always try to have some visuals for this, even if it's just a few images or what have you. You know, I'm a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. So let's see here. So if you have the source book, feel free to pull out that source book and turn to page 106 if you want to follow along. I'm like, what am I going to do when I get past Star by Star? But I think I'll be okay. It's after that, there's a lot of content that can also be freestyled, and this kind of gives me a foundation of like what I need to look for, like every time we come to a timeline of where a new book starts, our new history, new events start. Then we can expand on like the progress of the invasion, state of the New Republic, what's going on with them, even with the Imperial Remnant and stuff like that. So this book gives a great outline to where I want to take us after Star by Star. Let's see here. This is my first time joining your live stream. Saw you on one of Mr. Grizzy's streams and wanted to check out your content since you You, along with Star Wars Marva Pierce, try to give the EU more attention it deserves. Well, thank you so much, Quiet Drawer. I'm going to say drawer. I'm sorry. Drawer. I'm so sorry with that. I appreciate you coming in and, and talking true Star Wars with us, listening in. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to mingle with everybody here in the chat. You are welcome here. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Lucas wanted the best, so he hired the best for the EU. Correct. Longest timeline ever. Correct. All right, here, let me put this non-canon art up on my walls. I'll also pass out the non-canon Tales of the Jedi comics to all my employees at a Christmas party, and that includes Dark Empire. Dark Empire was another one that was given out to the employees by George Lucas. Revenge of the Sith and Darth Plagueis novel by James Luceno are easily my favorite Star Wars books. Pretty cool, Derek. Awesome. All right, so let's get at this. So basically, I still have this old map here of the collapse of the core here. I'm just going to keep it as is until we get a little bit further, and I'll update it. So this is basically the start of the slide that you guys are kind of familiar with. All right. So Edge of Victory. So the invasion and taking over planets, either destroying or taking them completely for their resources, felt the same from Balance Point. There's no real different change. Once we get to Rebirth, you'll see a lot more planets taken by the Vong here. So we're not at a standstill. There's still stuff going on here, but they're moving in on Yavin. And you have the Peace Brigade moving in with them and stuff. And so there's this whole ordeal that's going to be happening that we're going to talk about next Thursday. So stay tuned for that. But this also includes the new Jedi Purge, which involves the Peace Brigade, which even now the New Republic is involved with in a sad way. It's like the Jedi can't have any allies right now. It's fucking crazy. It is crazy here. And I still have this map here that I juxtaposed parts of it too, so you could see all the lit areas of all the planets taken by the Vong so far. Yeah, so it's fucking crazy. The Peace Brigade, let me see what you're saying. Peace Brigade with an equivalent of fence riders. Right. There you go. You can relate them to that. It's like they're trying to ride both sides, right? So they're right there on the middle of the fence. They want both sides. And all they're thinking about is themselves. And that's what fence riders do. It's more or less themselves, but people will follow fence riders because they think that there's this copium bullshit that's going on. That is going on. Let me see here what Matthew is saying here. George gave Dark Empire out to the employees on the Christmas, but he also supposedly hated the EU. That is why he bought so much EU comic art for his museum, right? Because he hated the EU. I know. It's fucking crazy, right? It is crazy. And we can argue this and provide proof all we want. And these anti-EU shills and Disney shills will still deny and still throw their tantrums and go at it. But hey, what can we do? All right. So this is where we're at in the progress of the invasion. Let me see here. Progress of the invasion, new Jedi Purge, but I also am throwing in the State of the New Republic. Might as well. The New Republic sells out the Jedi so hard here. And it's one of the reasons why they fall. One of the reasons. We'll get more into the machinations of the New Republic here soon, because pretty soon we're going to get into the fall, like their total fall of Coruscant, the total fall of the New Republic, and the new formation of the Galactic, the Galactic Republic. I forgot the Galactic Alliance. I forgot GRRA or something like that. Fuck, I can't remember. But anyways, we're going to get into the Galactic Alliance when they form. So this is where we find the formation of the New Republic. It's coming up soon. There's a lot of stuff going on in this time. Was skimming through my source books while talking to OG. Lots of lore that reflected real world events. Oh, and F the Peace Brigade. Oh, he's still spinning about Ecrit. for Ygritte, and we'll talk about that. It's coming up soon. Or he specifically mentioned Han and Leia's kids to Colbert because he hates the expanded universe. Disney shills need to get a clue right. Or he specifically, oh yeah, I read that one already. Okay. Ygritte and Pliff, two rabbit companions for the Skywalkers on the EU. Haha. All right, so let's get into this. So again, progress of the invasion. So we're going to get into basically the state of the New Republic, the new quote unquote new Jedi Purge, and progress of the invasion. Then we'll get into Cringe Factor. That's one I really want to touch bases on because it's hardly mentioned or was barely mentioned when people were talking about Boyega's recent interview. And I think it needs to be called out. And if you've seen the title of this this live, you have an idea what's being called out, just to give you guys an idea. So the state of New Republic. The New Republic still spends as much energy fighting itself as it does the Yuuzhan Vong threat. And hopefully you guys are reading along. If not, that's fine. Not a requirement, but just a little bonus to follow along through a reread or read of the New Jedi Order. Myself, I am on the first book of Edge of Victory. I think Star Wars Marvel Pierce, are you on the second book still, or did you get past that one already? And then I don't know where Scran is at. Soul Assassin's just been following purely through research and stuff like that, and me talking with him about it. But if you're rereading, or you're barely starting to reread, that's cool. If you're barely starting to read it, welcome to the new Jedi Order era. There's a lot of shit going on here. Not your typical Star Wars story, but it's still Star Wars in general. All right. Destabilization efforts by the advancing Yuuzhan Vong agents continue to pay off. They're playing them. They have the Peace Brigade on their side. The Peace Brigade is only doing it to make sure that they aren't being like tortured, turned into slaves. Their planets aren't being turned into resource or dead planets conquered by the Vong, or any of those factors. So they're not worried about the state of the galaxy, more or less worried about themselves and just their planets in general. And they will spend any way to make sure that they're appeasing the Vong, including giving up the Jedi. Yep. The New Republic now turns its full authority upon the Jedi. Again, this is not a good thing. And it all goes back to how they turn on them and how they basically side with the Peace Brigade at one point. We're getting there. It is fucking sad. Senators and politicians consider the Jedi responsible for the devastating alien invasion rather than the defense against it. So there you go. So they are considered Jedi responsible. They turn the full authority upon the Jedi, but they say they're responsible. So you see where they're going with this? Okay, Pierce, you're about 9 chapters in the Edge of Victory Rebirth. Okay, awesome. I'm about 3 chapters in Conquest or whatever it's called. Yeah. So the new Jedi Purge. The new Jedi Purge. I had to stop and start prepping for April 9th Dark Tide Rune stream with Matt Welcome Star Wars Ground and John Goats. That's cool. I can't wait to hear that. You guys talk about that. That's going to be fun. So once you make the stream, we'll share that out. That's just right around the corner. That is Wednesday, right? Wednesday the 9th? All right. The new Jedi Purge. So this isn't a purge like a traditional purge, I guess you could say, but it's an attempted one, and it's a sacrifice of the Jedi by any means to save the Republic in a sense, I guess you could say. And it involves in the New Republic, kind of supports it with the Peace Brigade, and it's a offering, almost like a peace offering towards the Vong in a sense, but the Vong don't have a word for peace. They see such submission as weak. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting. Between the propaganda spread by corrupt senators, the chaos unleashed by Yuuzhan Vong agitators, and the collaboration of the politicians and the New Republic citizens, man, the Jedi really have it stacked against them, right? History starts repeating itself. Many act on what they believe to be truthful information. Although the Yuuzhan Vong and their agents caused the widespread destruction along the path of their invasion, the Jedi end up serving as the scapegoats for it. Because the Jedi are supposed to be there and are supposed to, thwart any threats possible. They're only humans or other species because they have the Force. They're supposed to be superheroes according to the New Republic and the citizens and all that. Isn't that crazy? New Republic forces, local planetary militias, and the Yuuzhan Vong themselves hunt for anyone suspected of being a Jedi. I'll go back that again. The New Republic forces, local planetary militias, and the Yuuzhan Vong themselves hunt for anyone suspected of being a Jedi or having Jedi sympathies. Wow. So you can't support the Jedi in the efforts of saving the galaxy? Or you're dipped too, right? You're dipped. Crazy. Even before the Jedi. But you've seen that with the Dark Times Purge under Vader. Anybody has sympathies with, according to the Jedi, were dealt with too. So you have that little repeated bit of history in a sense, but this time it's involving the New Republic. What the hell? When I first read all this, and I'm like, are you serious? The New Republic formed because they didn't like being oppressed under the Empire, right? And they began to realize how they lied about the Jedi, how they lied about, different dealings within the galaxy, how they were enslaving other species. But now they're repeating history themselves. They're supposed to be the good guys, right? They're supposed to be fighting against this and knowing that no matter what, we can unite and try to beat these forces because we did that with the Rebel Alliance, right? And then all these alien species that are in the Senate now, especially in the higher council part of the Senate, knew exactly what the Empire was doing towards their people. But now that they have this anti-human sentiment, they're gonna act like dipshits towards the Jedi. The Jedi are not all human, right? But still. So they're like, we were treated this way, blah, 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 blah. And that's why we're in the, there was a lot of that back and forth in the beginning of the New Jedi Order with how they even accused Leia of being a xenophobic. And now they're turning out just like the people they hated, the people that oppressed them. This is fucking good writing. This is good writing because people think, oh, well, the New Republic, because they were, the Rebel Alliance who formed the New Republic, because they were oppressed and blah, blah, blah by the Empire, they could never do any wrong. You have a lot of that talk within Star Wars community now, or what you want to call Star Wars community. It's basically Disney Star Wars fans. It's like the Disney Star Wars fans, like, these type of people can't do any wrong because they were oppressed by the Empire, blah, 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 blah. They can't turn. Anyone can turn at any time, no matter if you're on the right or left side of politics. And I'm just putting in a real world example. Let me get a drink. My voice is going. It doesn't matter. Put fearful events in front of you that will make you misjudge, misthink, think selfishly. You're going to turn. Yes, it's like poetry. It rhymes. And so that's what's going on here against the Jedi right now, under Luke. But this time, it's with people who are supposed to be allies. Yes, the Old Republic at the time when Palpatine was the Chancellor was supposed to be their allies, right? And basically it was the Sith revenge and the forming of the Empire under the Sith. This time, this has no Sith machinations going on in it. It's just a bunch of species that felt the oppression from the Sith at the time. And the human support and, you know, the xenophobia. They're turning out to be the Empire themselves now, in a sense. Crazy shit here. All right. Where was I at? Even before the Jedi have been reestablished in the galaxy, it appears they will again be wiped out. Oh, wiped out. So we have that going on. And this duology, I would say it's worth the read in itself. Like the whole thing. There's going to be books. We're going to come into a timeline or two within the New Jedi Order where I'm like, oh God, this one right here is kind of slow. I get what they're trying to do. This is what's going on in the galaxy. But this, like I said, this duology, there's so much going on here. And we get to see the best of Anakin Solo before he dies. Oh my God. And Tahiri Velia, who, you know, is captured and gets and is reshaped. So we get to see the Shapers. We get introduced to the Shapers. And Talon Card, who basically helps rescue the younglings on Yavin 4. The what do you call it? The river. So it's kind of like Luke's Underground Railroad for the Jedi and for those who are it's called the Great River for those who are in alliance with the Jedi and stuff like that. And it leads to shelter, the Maw. And there's history behind that. Once you get into Legacy era, it talks more about what happened at the Maw with the children there that got sent there and stuff to keep them safe, because he's trying to avoid a purge. And we'll get more into this here. So we have this new Jedi purge, and Luke, and along with a lot of his allies, prevents this purge. But then it leads to other things later on in history that Legacy timeline discusses. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Good morning, Nerd Migos. How are you doing? Yeah, so let's get into this. Talon Card is a really good liar. He's actually a good guy too. He doesn't want to think that he's a good guy, but yeah, he can really talk his way out of shit, right? Talon Card can really talk his way out of shit. Yes, the barefoot girl, Tahiri Velia. Soul Assassin says makes you support Case wants to abandon the Republic in the Legacy comics. Yeah, there's a lot of tie-ins with when you read further into the history, like 100 years after or so, 100 plus years, when you get to Kate Skywalker, there's a lot of like callbacks to what happened during this time as well. Talon Card has virtue. Yes, he does. All right, so let's get into the progress of the invasion. And then next week we'll get into the invasion of Yavin 4 and all that history there. I think it's very important that we cover that, because that goes in along with the new Jedi Purge, what's going on with the Jedi during the time. I think it's a big historical event that needs to be covered, not only because it, you know, is tied around a couple of main characters. It's also just a main event that needs to be discussed. All right. The Yuuzhan Vong halt their invasion of the galaxy of the infidels, preferring to let the infidels divide and conquer themselves. That's why when I shared this here, it's the same as Balance Point's mapping of like all the planets that were conquered and destroyed and taken over by the Vong. And so like you see Alderaan's still mapped here, but it's just a blank circle. Rest in peace to all the Alderaanians in Bail Organa. But anyways, They're just like standing by. Let's let the New Republic just tear themselves apart a little bit. It makes it a lot easier on us. And that's what I was kind of pointing out earlier. Okay, let's go. Sovereign law allows the New Republic to believe that a truce has been declared. And the Yuuzhan Vong will attack no more planets, providing the New Republic attacks no more Yuuzhan Vong whips. Sovereign Long offers a bounty on Jedi, motivates thousands of opportunistic fortune seekers from across the galaxy to track down and capture the Jedi wherever they can be found. See what they're doing here? They're dividing and conquering. The Jedi are their biggest foes. So why not use this anti-Jedi sentiment against them, using the Peace Brigade to weaken them from the inside? Saban Long is evil. Evil. Thousands more take up the collapse hands signal of the Peace Brigade. So basically, they're siding with the Peace Brigade, pledging their weapons, ships, and lives to the goal of mutual coexistence with the quote-unquote visitors. Even on Coruscant, the Vong began to appear, disguised with Uglith maskers. This is the beginning. Here we go. The beginning of the taking of Coruscant. But planning for the day when they can walk unencumbered among the crawling publics. Conversely, those humans who chose to collaborate with the Yuuzhan Vong await that same day when they expect to be showered with rewards for their part in the bringing the New Republic to its knees. One of these is Vicky Shesh. Oh God, I hate that fucking bitch. And rightfully so. I think one of the Rogue Squadron really gives it to her, like towards the end, towards her death, and calls her out for abandoning Rogue Squadron on Coruscant. So we're not at that point yet, but I'm just giving you a glimpse into the future, what's going to happen. I forget which Rogue Squadron member was it. I don't think it was Wedge. So if anybody can tell me, it's been a while since I read that novel where that is at. But please share with me. What's so awesome is that once Coruscant becomes terraformed, it isn't magically reversed. It's long-lasting effect. Correct. So even when you read through the Legacy early novels before you get to Legacy comics, it's still terraformed. It still has a lot of the changes that the Vong did to it. So I hate fucking Vicky Shesh. Hate her. And I'm so glad that like one of the Rogue Squadrons basically sends her to her death. I guess you could say, oh gee, I sent you a pic of Cade mentioning the Republic betrayal of the Jedi. Let me see. Let me pull that up and we'll get back into to what I was sharing with you. Hold on. All right. Since we're talking about continuity, I'll go ahead and share this. Why not? Because it just shares basically, and crap, I forgot what book I said I was going to use for Continuity Chronicles, which I have to get posted here soon. God, I don't remember now. All right. Let's see here. Did it show up? No, I have to remove this. Oh, here we go. So this is from Legacy, and this is where he is with Force Ghost Luke, his two-time great pappy. His pappy. Be a Skywalker. That's turned out real well for our family, hasn't it? Killed my father, and look what it did to yours. Be a Jedi. Why? I've read the histories time and again. The galaxy which we served turn against us, and we keep coming back for more. That's real clever of us, isn't it? Yep. So there you go. This is where this is when before, you know, he realized that he is needed, and this is before he comes back into reality. But he has a point there. He has a point. No matter what they did and tried, the galaxy always seems to have turned on them. Not just the Skywalkers, Jedi. Cade is Jake before Jake. No, he's not. No, he is not. And I will defend Cade Skywalker. Let's see here. Cade's got some Kipteron energy. He sure does. He is a friggin' amazing character, and he has every right to say what he's saying there. If you haven't read the comics, don't judge before you read. There's a reason why he says it, and his story is phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, let's see here. I'm showing a little bit of my internet warning here of it being unstable. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my phone is turned off from the internet. All right. Let's see here. And then everybody and the mama wants to text me right now. All right. So let's go on. Let's go on. Where was I at? But who arranged the collectors? Okay, let me see here. The one, I'm just going to start again. The one of these is Vicky Shesh, current senator who not only helped the Yuuzhan Vong attempt to assassinate the Jedi leadership, but who arranged to collect so many refugees in one place on Duro. Assisted by Yuuzhan Vong infiltrators and equipped with the Yuuzhan Vong bioorganic devices, she has maneuvered the New Republic senators towards compliance with the invaders and away from support of the Jedi. By the time the Yuuzhan Vong are ready to assault Coruscant, she believes at least half of the senators will vote to surrender the New Republic to the Yuuzhan Vong, and she will be elevated to administrator of all the sectors and systems that once compromised the New Republic. So she's coming into this with her own, goals and stuff, and she's willing to sacrifice the Republic for them. That's fucking shit. I can't wait to get to the part where she's face to face with one of the rogue people on Coruscant after it falls, and after it's slowly taken back by the Jedi and the Galactic Alliance. Her next step is to point the Peace Brigade in the direction of the Jedi Academy. And there we go. So I'm going to leave it here because we're going to get into the Vong invasion of the Yavin 4, the Academy, next week. So stay tuned for that. So it's getting juicy here. And so we're in a state of the New Republic being desperate, trying to make some kind of mutual peace with the Vong to save their asses and their planets and stuff. And there's one clip that I shared on my channel. It is a EU short, and it is basically Wedge talking with like Leia and Luke and them in a private room about forming a resistance. And this is a book, and I forgot the name. I forgot which book it is. The book is cited in that short. And basically, this pertains to what's going on, what we're coming to right now with these events happening of the New Republic and the galaxy turning on the Jedi, thinking that they're going to have peace with the Vong. And that is far from the truth, as we know. Some of you guys may not know, you haven't read yet, and that's fine. But this right here is the beginning. And it's called The Edge of Victory. But it takes a while to get to that victory. It sure does. There's a lot going on. The fall of Coruscant is going to begin here soon. All right. So if you guys have any questions in the chat, or you want to expand on a little bit what we talked about, feel free to find yourself. Let's see here. Palpatine, and we shall have peace. Right. Peace is a lie. Isn't that one of the Sith? Isn't that one of the Sith's code? Peace is a lie. He's a fucking liar. OG, it's called Rebel Dream. Sent you the clip. Okay, yes. I can't think of the name. I know, and I'm not going to try to pretend that I know them exactly, but I do know. So maybe I have a bit of autism. Is this mine? Yeah, it is, huh? Let me see here. So we'll get to that. Okay, let me turn it off. Turn it off. Rewind. Let's go ahead and hear this. Since it ties into the future, what we're going to get through, let me remove that. Stop screen. Wish there was an easier way to share. All right. Here we go. Here you guys go.
Wedge said, I think that we're right at the edge of annihilation. Not just the government. Our entire culture, our history, gone without a trace. His voice hoarsened. I'm not going to let that happen. So here's what I propose. He drew his blaster and shoved it to the center of the conference table. Anyone need a blaster? I'm willing to put it out there because there's no one in this room I'd hesitate to put my life in the hands of. And that's how I propose we build this resistance. For the time being, don't bring in anyone you wouldn't trust your life to, or your children's lives. We'll set up contacts, bases, and cells the old Rebel Alliance way. While the New Republic hits the enemy where they're strong, we'll figure out how to hit them where they're weak. And if, or when, the New Republic finally falls, we'll be here to hit the Yuuzhan Vong both ways, mixing hard and soft styles. Finally, Wedge said, I think that we're right at the edge of annihilation.
Talking. So there you go. I thought I'm talking away and I'm muted. So there you go. But there you go. There is the clip. A glimpse into what's to come. Where our classic heroes lie with protecting the galaxy, even when they're not faced with the New Republic support. So this is right before the Republic falls, and where they stand. And they know the Republic's going to fall, so they're like, once they fall, we'll go about it this way and that way. So thank you guys. I'm all talking away and it's like muted. All right. So there we go. Again, this series, 19 books, very effective. It's going to be 24 or something like that. But, and then it has the comics, which are not very well received, but they're still there. A wonderful series, a wonderful directional change, because we can't have the same type of threats all the fucking time. And I can't wait to get more into where Imperial Remnant steps up. So I'm so excited to keep moving forward on this, even though it's going to take some time. I think it's here that covering how I'm covering it is a well thought out plan and strategic plan for giving you guys a huger glimpse into the New Jedi Order with the Vong's invasion, what's going on with the Republic, the New Republic, what's going on with the Imperial Remnant, the Jedi, instead of just talking about the novelizations themselves. So it brings up a bigger conversation on what's going on. Still following the order of the books, of course, and the timeline, but giving more information on what's going on within them and stuff. So there we go. So with that being said, next week will be the fall of Yavin, and we'll get into more of the story there and what happens. And Talon Card's help, his involvement as well. You did a great job sticking with the source book. I kind of used a lot of different ones in the beginning and haven't been slacking. That's okay. We all got a different approach and stuff like that. And I love what you're doing with the Unadulterated EU and talking about the novel and all of that's going on and having guests on. That's amazing. So stay tuned on April 9th. Matt and Scran and John will be on there. They're going to be talking about, forgot what the name what book you guys are on again. It's like we're on so many different areas of the like early areas of the New Jedi Order. I can't keep track sometimes. And yes, tonight. And then I have an interview I have to go to. It's not for a job. It's just an interview for the studio, an instructor interview. But when I get home, I think I'm going to jump on with Grizz, and we're going to be tearing into the Shill's response to the Tales of the Underworld. So stay tuned for that. Dark Tide Rune. Yeah, that's right. Let's see here. Darth Melvin will be on Casual Rage tonight as well. Oh, cool. Damn, everybody's all hopping on everybody's channels and stuff too. Awesome. Love it. All right. With that being said, let's take a break. Let's go ahead and fill our glasses if you need to get more drinks, if you need to use the restroom or grab a snack. Here's your chance, because we are going to get into a heavy topic for Cringe Factor. It's not the usual Cringe Factor held, sponsored by Screen Rant. But it is going to be a heavy talk indeed. So let's go ahead and play this and we'll get ready for that.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the Expanded Universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The Expanded Universe respects the reader. In the Expanded Universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy, just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the Expanded Universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the Expanded Universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story in continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the Expanded Universe.
So uncivilized.
Caf. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
All right, so here we go. So I over the past couple of days since this interview was given out to the masses, I wanted so much to do a video to talk about it, point out some stuff, point out some facts, what have you. Been busy the last couple of days, and so you know what? I decided that today's the day for Caf Chat. We'll use it for Cringe Factor, but we will talk about this in a different light. And why do I say different light? Because everybody's covering, oh, he's gaslighting the fans. He's saying the fans are racist. How dare him? He before blamed Disney for how his character turned out. Now it's the fans' fault. Yeah, I get that. This was very disingenuous from John Boyega, when in the past he was like, you can't Disney plus me. I'm not going to be part of this anymore, to it's Disney and the writers basically, and I'm paraphrasing. That's the one that destroyed my character. Again, paraphrasing. To now, it is the fans' fault because they give excuses for having Mace and Lando in, and they're only secondary characters who are best friends to everybody. Whatever. Not realizing, not only did he discredit the roles that William and Samuel L. Jackson had, and how pivotal those roles were to the stories. They weren't just best friends. They weren't written like Finn was for the Disney trilogy. They had pivotal, huge moments that affected the plot, affected the story. Without them and their contributions, would not have turned out the way the hero needed it to be. Like, in a sense. So I'm talking more about Lando. He's the one that defeated the Death Star. He led the attack crew into the Death Star, defeating it in the Falcon. On top of that, he's the one that helped save the he risked his business, the people who relied on him and invested and made homes and worked for his business. He risked all of that to help his friends out. That's the beginning of his story towards these characters. He's not just this friend of so-and-so and that's all he's there for. He's not around chasing Leia saying, Leia, He's discrediting the efforts by George Lucas. I said it here. He's discrediting George Lucas to gaslight fans, to pull the race card here. And yes, I'm Native American, Filipino, with a little bit of, Spanish and French. And I could pull the race card and how multicultural my family is. My sister's family is, but that's not what this is about. I could see in all perspectives, I guess you can say. But my point is, it doesn't matter who I am, my skin color, and nor should it be for Boyega. I understand, like Hollywood back in the 70s and into the 80s still was predominantly white, I guess you could say. And there's many instances where not only the Black culture, but the Native culture and stuff had made stands to get more people into Hollywood of our culture, of our race, right? So there was those that was being done. But George Lucas himself was a visionary. And not only did he make his story diverse, it was diverse in who he hired to play these characters, and it was diverse in how he shared the universe of Star Wars. The universe of Star Wars isn't just about humans. And I've argued this before, mostly humans in the Star Wars universe did not have a race. Their race, or who they were, was basically determined on the planet they were born on. So you would say, oh, Padme, she's from Naboo. Or you could say like Luke Skywalker and his dad, are originally from Tatooine, so they're of that. You could say that because of where Leia was raised and adopted, she's Alderaanian. But there was never a focus on skin color, race within Star Wars. And I think this is where the huge disconnect with Boyega, not knowing the lore, not knowing George Lucas and what he created, and he is only using the race card. And I really think that this is being done because he wants a job again with Lucasfilm. because why would he have a change of heart from I'm not going to be Disney Plus, or I'm not going to, or, you know, I don't like how they portrayed my character and blah, 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 talking about Lucasfilm, about the writers, to now blaming the fans and basically calling George Lucas a racist with an agenda. Yes, I said it here. You probably heard me hint about it on Twitter. He is basically saying George Lucas is a racist with an agenda, and we'll get into this article. But first, let me honor this. Thank you so much, Darth Ghostface, member for 13 months. Here we go. Star Wars fans stood up for Boyega when Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams wasted his character in the Disney trilogy. Now he decides to blame the fans and slander them as racist. I no longer feel bad for him. And you know what? As much as this is happening and how he has a change of heart, whatever you want to call that, a change of heart, a change of direction, wanting a change of career. It's like, yes, I shared how fans were so upset about the character Stormtrooper turning Jedi theme was taken away. If that's ever the focus, we know that JJ and Ryan and Kennedy all said that there was basically no plans for the trilogy. They just went along and made things up, and his character suffered from that. But the thing is, people wanted that, but not realizing that it already happened in Star Wars, in real Star Wars with Kyle Katarn. He was the Stormtrooper who turned Jedi, right? And I've had argued that before with other fans about Finn's character. Mind you, Finn probably would have been something interesting to see for Disney Star Wars lore, but to celebrate him as if he's the first ever Stormtrooper turned Jedi, it's not true. So it's not true. And I say, you know what? I would always say, go to the better character, Kyle Katarn. And in fact, channel members, I will be posting here on the community, YouTube community, our post page, and on my Twitter, the actual day we're going to review the last novella of the Dark Forces Jedi Knight. So those are the points I want to make. So let's go ahead and see exactly where I came up with this conclusion. First of all, it's a little hinted in here. John Boyega says, quote, Star Wars is so white that a black person exists in it. It's a big deal. Toxic fans are okay with us playing the friend, but we can't touch their heroes. So do you see Lando as just playing a friend? Do you see Mace Windu as just playing a friend? All right. So John Boyega called out Star Wars for being so white during an interview as part of the new Apple TV original documentary #1 on the call sheet, Black Leading Men in Hollywood. So it just tells about his where he was, what movies he was in for Star Wars, which we all know. So let's see here. Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being the most widest elite space. It's a franchise that's so white that a black person existing in it was something, Boyega said in the documentary. You can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and had Samuel L. Jackson. It's like telling me how many cookie chips are in the cookie dough. It's like they're just scattering that in there, or they're scattering that in their bro. So basically, let's go up to here. Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most widest elite space. It's a franchise that's so white that black person existing in it was something. This is where he is calling George a racist. This is where he's saying that George had an agenda. Like he must fit these diversity quotas. So got to sprinkle in the black people, just like people they're sprinkled in a cookie chip or cookie. And that doesn't sit well with me. Mind you, yeah, George, he can say things that contradict himself here and there. I'm not saying that he's perfect. But George, again, was never the person to be racist or use a black agenda or black people as tokens. Now, like the main characters, the Skywalkers, yes, they're white appearance because, of course, that's how they were casted. And so you got to kind of stay true to that, right? And so, but still, doesn't mean that it's a franchise that is racist because they only cast white people here and there. No, because there's a lot of people who were casted that were white, black, what have you, to play alien species, to play other Jedi characters. Mind you, these are not about being friends. These are about feeling the story and showing the story in depth, the creation, the universe, everything about it. And then pivotal characters like Mace, like Lando, for example, since these are the people that he mentioned. It's funny how he mentions Lando, the character, and then Samuel, the actor. Like he doesn't remember Mace Windu's name here or Billy D. Williams' name here. But anyways, that's just something I noticed. But with this, he is saying George from the start is the racist here. Tokenism patronizes no white people or non-white people. And thanks for bringing us great information, OG. Thank you. Too many crackers in Star Wars. And that's the thing. And like I said, Star Wars is not about the human race or about a specific faction of the human race. We just got done talking about the new Jedi Order. Who makes up the majority of the main council? It's all different species. They're not white. They're not human. You know, and, you know, and like when you go back into the PT era, looking at all the Jedi from different planets, different species, and the actors and actresses that play them, they're not playing their human race type species. They're playing these species that are from different planets that are just thought up by George and the creators that are under him. It's not about the human race. And sorry, Boyega, that your character was regressed so much to resorting to the friend going around yelling, Rey! That's not the fault of George. That's not the fault of Billy D. Williams, nor Samuel L. Jackson, and they're not comparable to your fucking character. It was pathetic to see how they evolved that character to just this idiot that just goes around yelling and screaming for Rey. I can see why he's pissed, but it has nothing to do with the characters like Lando and Mace. Nothing whatsoever. They're completely night and day. One, these two characters mentioned by John had pivotal roles within the lore that pushed the story forward and also were so crucial to the dynamics of Anakin's fall and the success of the Rebel Alliance. They weren't going around screaming around, Anakin, or Leia, or whatever. Like nobodies. They were well-written characters that had a lot to do with the lore, what's going on in the scenes and the characters. And he says, oh, well, they can't touch the hero, bro, or whatever. They can't touch the hero. What do you mean by can't touch the hero? You know, like can't touch him as in like have the same kind of characteristics or plots or contributions, because they were right up there with the main heroes, with the Skywalkers. In fact, like I said, their roles actually influence the direction the story needed to go so the hero can either be successful or fall. What did this character do for the story plot and the main character, or for Rey, for example, that pushed the story forward and made a difference? Not a fucking damn thing. Not a damn thing. But yet, his words allude to George being racist because it is, Star Wars is so white. And that putting a black person basically tokenite is a token. Is a chocolate chip, is a chip in the story. In the greater universe that is the cookie. Yeah, so there you guys go. I wanted to touch basis on this. I'm going to go ahead and remove on sharing how he probably unknowingly was calling George a racist with an agenda, like tokenizing these black characters back in the day. Yeah, he was screaming out for Rey's cookie. He wanted to be the chocolate chip. He wanted to be the chip in her cookie. Sorry. Oh my God, I went there. He wanted to touch the hero and he wanted to be the cookie or the chip in her cookie. Oh, you guys know I say crazy shit. Here you go. Oh my God. It's so pathetic how he gaslit a lot of fans. And at the same time call George a racist with an agenda. No one caught up to that. No one, like, whenever these damn characters talk about race in Star Wars and how it's white or how, you know, it's racist, how some of these species were seem racist towards cultures and races in the human or on Earth, basically, like Jar Jar being Jamaican man. All you guys and your cookies. They're calling George a racist. They don't realize that, and people don't connect the dots with that. And it's pathetic. It's and even George at one point during the PT era when he was developing the story had to had one of, I don't know if it was his daughter or one of the Lucasfilm employees that had to make a statement about the race, the comments about how Jar Jar and other species like the Nemoidians or stuff like that were racist because they stereotyped certain races on Earth here. Isn't that fucking crazy? But did she give consent? Oh my God. See how I take crazy stuff like that and make a crazy comment? That's just me. That's just OG. That's just me. Soul Assassin says, now I got the Limp Bizkit song Nookie in my head now. Did it all for that cookie. Yeah, that space cookie. It's gone around hollering Rey's name, hollering for her cookie so he can get a taste of the hero or be a part of their touch the hero and be the chip in her cookie. There you go. That's going to be fucking clipped. I don't always eat chocolate chip cookies, but when I do, I eat the white ones. Stay racist, my friends. Oh my God. Anyone who slanders George Lucas as a racist is a fake Star Wars fan. There we go. All right. So I told you that this was going to be different than the normal Cringe Factor. I wanted to touch bases on that because I was kind of disappointed in a sense to where, and I haven't listened to Dark Council to see what they said about this. Love to hear the Black perspective, I guess you can say, of our brothers and sisters, I guess you could say. That sounds so stereotypical, but I'm Native. I like to say that because we're all connected some way, somehow. That's just a Native philosophy. I love to hear their points. And so I am going to go watch and listen to that clip or that section of their conversation to see what they have to say. Because I didn't really see, and I haven't noticed any one of them say anything on Twitter, nor did I look for it. So it doesn't mean I haven't. But I really think that this was a horrible thing for John Boyega to say against fans, after, changing his direction, pivoting so much that it looks like this is just a call of employment towards Lucasfilm, like he wants to be rehired back into his character, right? Or something thereof. And then also subconsciously, whatever, calling George a racist with an agenda, basically. And I think it's very important to bring this to light. I know that there are going to be people that are going to disagree with me, particularly the Disney shills, but fuck them. Fuck them and their racist attitudes. All right, let's see here. We're going to start closing out. Let's see here. OG sent you a short of Lucas talking about the Jar Jar backlash. Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to that as we close out. Thank you so much for doing that. It needs to refresh. Oh, okay. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Now it's like timing out. Why are you timing out on me? Let's see here. George Lucas is creator of the franchise, and the mere fact that these shills tear him down and disrespect him just to prop up Disney Star Wars is beyond me. Might as well tear down J.R.R. Tolkien, and there has been ever since the Rings of Power. All right, let's see here. Soul Assassin. It's not letting me get into or refresh the feed for it. So let me see. It's like frozen. There we go. All right. I think, nope, it's not showing it. It says you sent a link, but it's not showing it inside the stream or inside the DM. It's weird. It is weird. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing it. Soul Assassin, sorry. It's not showing up. At least I'm not getting kicked out of StreamYards right now. Okay, John Boyega. John Boyega. Boyega should attack Disney. They are the ones that reduced his character to the pathetic he ended up being the trilogy at the trilogy's end. I agree. Sorry, I was late, Laura. I'll catch the rest of the stream on replay. Thank you for coming in. As long as you jumped in and participated in the chat and conversation, I am glad you're here. Soul Assassin sent you a better link of. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Here we go. It finally showed up. Nope. All right. So I'm going to share this. We're going to begin to close out, but I wanted to share. Thank you, Soul, because I know that there are videos of him talking about this very thing. And mind you, I have to find the article, but I found the first article, the first review of The Phantom Menace before the movie came out. So this is media review of the film. This isn't the greater public review of the film. And how that person who wrote the review, and I don't remember if it was New York Times, I'm not sure, the one that pointed out that Jar Jar is a racist depiction of Jamaican people. So it was never the fans. It's always been the media that came up with these type of agendas.
How in the world you could take an orange amphibian and say that he's a Jamaican? I mean, even the idea of taking his ears and calling them dreadlocks is kind of a strange stretch as far as I'm concerned. There's a group of fans from the films that don't like comic sidekicks, and they get very, very upset and very opinionated about anything that has anything to do with being childlike, which the movies are for children, but they don't want to admit that. And in the first film, they absolutely hated R2 and 3PO. Now Jar Jar is getting accused of the same thing. How in the world you could take an orange amphibian and say that he's a Jamaican.
So there you go, George, talking about that. Like I said, the first backlash about Jar Jar came from the media. There are people, of course, and rightfully so, people don't have to like every fucking character within a story. There are characters I don't care for in Star Wars and the greater EU, but I understand they're there for a reason and stuff like that. And there's characters I really, really love, and there's some that are in between, and it's fine. I don't it doesn't bother me that some people don't like certain characters, even in the movies. That's fine. And but the thing is, you know, resorting to racist verbiage against George Lucas and his intentions is bullshit. You don't have to like the character. You don't. And you can tell me why. But it's not because, don't tell me it's because George is racist and the character is a stereotypical machination of, you know, like the Jamaicans or something like that, because that's bullshit. We hated R2-D2 and C-3PO. I don't know. That's what George thought. I don't remember, but I was quite young when all that came out. And I thought they were interesting and part of the story. So I don't know. I have no idea. Racist Skywalker. Yes. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for sitting in and talking the lore with me. Lucas Facts, Book of the Week, New Jedi Order, the state of the New Republic, and the invasion progress of the Yuuzhan Vong and what's going on with the Jedi. I love this conversation with you guys. And of course, this Cringe Factor talking about Boyega and his weird intentions and basically calling George a racist. Kind of sad, isn't it? So thank you guys again for tuning in. I'm going to play this as we start wrapping up. Let me see. What do I want? Let's go to Shadows.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
And remember, Casual Rage tonight. Mr. Grizzy live, going making fun of the shill reaction to Tales of the Underworld, and I think those are the two main shows tonight. So catch you guys there, whether in the chat or on the stream. You guys have a good day.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM, with these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis, and so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. That's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
And remember, stay caffeinated, my friends.
Caf. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Another happy landing.